Hey guys, how you doing? Me doing okay. Missed you guys last week. Didn't We didn't do any videos last week. I inadvertently caught one hell of a flu. 2 Fridays ago. Yeah, 2 Fridays ago, and it laid me out. I had to go. I went to work that morning and was feeling rough, but not so horrible. I couldn't. I'm under the firm belief that basically, if you're not in the hospital and you can get up, you're breathing, you should go to work. That's just me, though. And I did. I just thought I was extremely tired. Went to work, and about halfway, 3/4 of the way through the day, I just couldn't. Got to the point where I couldn't stand. Uh, Cold sweats, chills, all that good stuff. Just basically like I had caught a severe cold or flu. Get home, I leave work about an hour early, so it wasn't like I missed much work. And get home to find out I have a temperature of 101.6, and I really need to get my butt in bed. So I did. But anyhow, I tell you this story not because I need sympathy for being sick, or you really care that I was sick, but what it did was it took me a little longer to recover because I never stopped working, and I was drained, so I wasn't able to get my normal stuff done that I do through the week, and something had to give. One of those gives was videos, unfortunately. Although that being said, I really did wish I could have done some videoing. We did do some things. I had dinner guests over last Thursday, Kevin and Kaylee, who are good friends of ours. They came over for dinner. We had a delightful dinner, and it was fun. Did some relaxing, a little bit here and there. Some reorganizing around the house. Got a rice cooker. That came, I actually got that as a 5-year anniversary gift for work, even though I've actually been with the company 18 years, where I left and come back and rebooted my status. And so now I got my second 5-year anniversary gift ever with a company, which is weird. But anyhow, so that being said, I'm okay, but I was just way behind on daily chores. Sorry, I don't want to open up the curtain in here. It's really nice outside today. If you live in Ohio, it's been a hot mess off and on for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks. It's like it'll be nice through the week, and then all of a sudden it rains, turns to ice, then turns to snow, and then stays cold for a few days, and then warms back up. That's been the trend for the last month. But I guess now, yesterday was the last cold day for a little while, a good little while, and they're talking possibly no more snow, which would be nice. I'm so tired of snow and rain and bad weather. It's nice to see the sun out. So anyhow, I was getting ready to do dishes, and I was thinking about this week's agenda and what we are going to do. I got a lot going on this week, but we're still going to cook and we're still going to bake. I've got a hankering for a few different things, so I may be making a couple videos more extra this week for next week. But I know Chris was coming home the other day from picking up Abby and from school, and all of a sudden she notices that the car is pulling hard to the left. She's literally just like almost on our street, and she thought she had a flat tire. Well, she gets into the driveway, parks, finds she had a flat tire. I had a caliper that decided it was going to stay where it was. If you don't know what a caliper is, that's what pushes your brake pads into your rotor to stop your car, and that's and it had stuck. And I'm pretty sure it's still stuck. It's sitting in the garage right now. So we're going to be looking at that this week, me and you. I'm going to do a video on what I'm going to do with that, because what we're going to try to do is tear the caliper apart. And we are going to tear the caliper apart and see if we can clean it up and keep it going. Maybe just order a rebuild kit for it, or if we have to get new ones. But I thought that would be fun to take a look at. And you may find that boring, but it could come in helpful down the road. If nothing else, it'll teach you how to tear your brakes apart. Because even though the sizes of the bolts may be different on some cars, types, but in general, replacing brakes is replacing brakes. If you can do it on one car, you can pretty much do it on any car. There's some nuances depending on the manufacturer. You may have caliper pistons that need to be twisted in. They may just go straight in. You may have two pistons on your caliper versus one. This car has a dual piston setup, so it's got two pistons in its caliper that push the brake pad out. It's got a really wide brake pad on it for extra stopping, to help stop quickly. It's not Dodge Magnums weren't a small car and they're not light. So they kind of need that extra power. Plus, mine's got a V8 in it, so you need that extra stopping power. That's just what it comes down to. But we're going to take a look at that and then see what we need to get for that. Been looking at the cost of plywood to start building the cabinets for the basement, and also looking at some used cabinets just to see what is going on price-wise. What can I do price-wise? Because unless we buy this house, it's not going to be, something that's permanent. It could be permanent, but, I don't know if we don't buy this house, do I leave the cabinets here? Do I take them with me? I mean, the thought is I'd like to take them with me, but the reality of it is I'd probably leave them here. So, do I, and right now, looking at the price of lumber, which is still, everything's really pricey, but in some ways, it would be cheaper just to buy gently used cabinets. I'm seeing cabinet sets online, for $300 or $400 used, when I know the 3 sheets of plywood I would need for good plywood, not just cheap. I mean, we're going to paint the cabinets, the boxes themselves, but I still want a decent plywood that's going to hold up for a while to put it together with. So, you're talking $225 easy and just plywood. That doesn't include the face, the frame for the face and the doors. So there's a lot to look at there. But so we're still looking into that, but right now we gotta get the car fixed first. Things have just gotten expensive. I was talking to one of my coworkers, Tracy, yesterday about how prices at the grocery store. And I know I ran about this a lot, but and it goes into effect everywhere, and now it's only going to get worse. How everything that she buys for her family, her and her family, has doubled, in price, and I get that. We had before the recession hit, I could go to the grocery store twice a week, spend $50, $75 and feed 4 of us, because over time we'd build up the grocery store down in the basements, so I didn't have to buy a lot. Now I still don't buy a whole lot. Matter of fact, I don't buy nearly like the fruits that we used to buy. We still buy fruit, but not like we were. And I spend about $125 to $150 a week at the grocery store now. So essentially it's doubled, and nothing's changed in our lifestyle. It's not like we started eating New York strip and caviar. So, that's kind of annoying. It's kind of a hindrance. Because although, like many people, hourly rate people, whose wages went up when everything got to be more expensive, right? And as they should in most cases. Especially in the restaurant and service industry in general. A lot of underpaid people for what we do. But here was the problem with that. I didn't see a pay raise. My boss didn't see a pay raise. My boss's boss didn't see a pay raise, because we're salary. We're not hourly. And not that we're not essential and we're not thought about, but so far it hasn't gone much further than a thought about. And that's okay for the moment. But the problem with that is, with everything increasing in price to help cover the wages of hourly rates, and I'm sure this holds true in many industries, it costs me more to do things. gas right now has skyrocketed. And in case you don't know why, or you haven't read it in a history book yet, if you're watching this 30 years from now, 40 years from now, there's a war going on. So yeah, we just jumped from pandemic to a war. But this war isn't with the United States, sort of. It's between Russia and the Ukraine, Russia and Ukraine, where Russia's trying to take back Ukraine. That used to be a part of Russia 35 years ago, and make it part of Russia again. And the Ukrainians are putting up a good fight, and they have the support of the entire world, including the U.S. Every government and every country out there, with the exception of two, have Ukraine's back in some way, shape, or form. Now, we're not physically on the ground. Nobody is fighting. That's between Ukrainians and Russians. We're trying hard not to start a World War III, but what we're doing, and most countries are doing, are putting in sanctions. We're hurting them economically, which is good and bad. It's bad because there's a lot of Russian citizens that, aren't getting a choice in this matter, much like the Ukrainian citizens aren't getting a choice in the matter of their houses being blown up, things like that. There's a lot of casualties in this that are going to come from this, and not even so much in wounded and dead. So basically the world as a unit, all countries but two as a unit, well, three if you include Russia, have come together and have just basically in a matter of a couple weeks destroyed Russia's economy. Well, and part of that was we quit buying oil from Russia. Now, what I'm about to say could probably go a video all in and of itself, and maybe I'll do one. But when we quit buying oil from Russia, our gas prices went up. So we've had plenty of, inflation, rising gas prices anyhow. OPEC has been doing a number on the price of oil per barrel, which is what gas is made of. So we're starting to see a little greed to begin with, but then we do this. Now, the part that could be an entire topic all of its own is I don't understand completely why gas prices jumped almost $1 overnight when only, depending on who you talk to, 4 to 8% of our total oil comes from Russia. So that means 92 to 96% of our oil comes from other places. So why the huge jump in gas prices? I don't know. Could be greed. I mean, and I don't know the ins and outs of it. It's not something I've looked into. We're still fresh into it. But I'm pretty sure some of it's greed. Some of it is we're still driving like fools on the freaking roadway doing 100 miles an hour in our big pickup trucks, instead of doing the speed limit, giving us better gas mileage and saving some pennies there, which could help, or, don't make as many trips, one trip out, couple stops, done. There's lots of things we could do to be conservative with it, all the same. I never understood the need for a pickup truck unless you used it for a living. Those in Suburbans are just way too big unless you actually have a family of 12. There's really no need to have a Suburban. But, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. So we've got the cost of gas going up. Well, what is that inadvertently going to do? It's going to drive the price of everything else up because it takes fuel to get things places. So that farmer in the middle of Iowa, Oregon, wherever that sends his produce all to the East Coast, well, it's going to cost him more to send it out. It's going to cost him more to grow it because he's got to get the materials to grow it. Those people are going to charge more to get him the materials. He's going to grow it, and then he's got to, then he'll have to ship it, or she will have to ship it to the East Coast, which costs money for fuel to get it there. So I would be looking for for food prices, or any price, clothing, whatever, to go up substantially due to this. I mean, that's hurting, and I know we're doing it for the right reasons. But my other thought on that, right quick, sorry, I'm doing dishes, was And this I kind of blame us for, shame on us, is why we knew this was coming. I mean, we did. It's, Russia's been on the border of Ukraine now for, I don't know, 5-6 months. And we knew that the invasion of Ukraine was inevitable and that us putting sanctions on them, even such as this, was going to be a possibility. So why didn't we prepare for it a little better? I don't know. Probably because we were too busy fighting amongst ourselves and not paying attention to the rest of the world. That would be my guess, because that seems to be at least what the popular was throughout the news channels, all the news channels. A whole lot of fighting about dumb stuff when we should have been coming together for it all. And this kind of caught us with our pants down. Although we waited till the very last minute to completely stop using Russian oil. The other thing I know this to be true is over the last few years, including this last year, so it's been Republicans, Democrats both, have issued 9,000 different permits to drill for oil in the U.S. That's just in the U.S. And that includes shale drilling, which I know a lot of people are against, and I get why. I'll even buy it. Drilling for oil is just a dirty, nasty business, no matter how hard you try to be environmentally friendly. And that's just a fact. I did it for a while, I know. And, okay, so it's a necessary evil. We'll call it at that. But why is it that we have all these potentially good wells for natural gas and oil just sitting by? Why is there not one manufacturer out there tapping those bad boys and getting them running? That's kind of discerning. The three biggest oil companies in the U.S. this last year, even though gas prices were going up, showed record profits. They showed at least 15% more than they planned. At least 15% more than they planned on making, based on sales projections. So, and it just so happened to turn out they're the highest profits they've ever seen. So then my question to them is that really being a good neighbor? Is that really, doing your part to help out society for the long term? Yeah, record profits are great now, but what happens when the world turns their back on you because they're finally tired of the shenanigans and nonsense? And then you're not making any money. It helps nobody in the long run. If BP America would decide that they don't want to make a profit but break even for 6 months, they could probably lower the price of gas by at least $1 a gallon. And still break even on that 6-month period. That would be a good neighbor. That would be somebody who's willing to take one for the team, so to speak. That's the difference between a leader and a figurehead. A leader, he gets right there with you and helps out when needed. I see managers like in my industry that, there are some managers, we call them office managers, and laugh at them behind their back because they sit in the office all day, or they just stand there and watch everybody work, even when somebody needs help. A real manager, they supervise. A real manager is not only watching what's going on in his or her environment, but they're right down there in the trenches, right by your side, doing the exact same thing you are. Now, I will say, I am lucky in the fact that, like in my company, it doesn't matter what your status is in our company. Everybody helps everybody. When they come in, if we get company at work, so to speak, and we often do. It's not like it's a big rip-roaring event, but let's say we're really busy. They will jump right in and they'll help make food. They'll help, get it to where it needs to go. And they do whatever it takes to make sure, we're all successful. And I know that's a rarity in some and most companies. That's a rarity. A lot of times, I know there are some restaurant companies out there that, the managers are completely hands off. That the district supervisor doesn't even talk to the employees. He talks to the general manager, who then talks to the employees. Which is, I think, ridiculous way to run things, but I'm not one to question it. This company in particular has been around for a very long time, makes an awful lot of money, and is all over the world. So they got to be doing something right. But all the same, I don't think that's the way to run a business, which is why I don't work for them and I work for the company I work for. Heck, when Abby had surgery this last go around, vice president of operations was in my store cutting pizzas because I couldn't be there. We're not exactly a small company. It's not like we're just 2-3 restaurants. We're pretty strong and, all over the U.S. technically. And so, that says a lot about our company's values and morals and being good neighbors. If nothing, we're still a company. We're still there to make money, and there are some decisions I don't agree with, and there always will be. Nobody agrees with everything all the time. But for the all in all, I think the company I work for is a solid company. And there should be more like them, in my opinion. But that being said, anyhow, I just really wanted to give you just a quick, here's what's been going on. Here's why there were no videos last week. But here's what we're going to do this week. So, not that you may see it this week, but I do have to work on the car, and I am going to shoot video with it. Sorry, I got to let Sam out. And I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do any canning, so to speak, this week. But we are doing dinner. We are going to do a tomato chicken curry with some basmati rice, and it won't be the fancy yellow rice like we did prior to. It'll just be this straight white rice. And then we'll do that together Wednesday, if you're so inclined to join me. And, if you're wondering, it's Monday today. Tuesdays just seem to be out for making a Tuesday video anymore, so that one I do them on Monday mornings. But you'll see it Tuesday or today or whenever you watch it. But anyhow, so for dinner, we're going to do the tomato chicken curry over basmati rice. And then Thursday, I'm doing 2 different pies, so I'm going to do 2 different videos and try to get a little ahead of the game. But the video that you will see for the pie you'll see this week will be a peach pie. The only thing I have left to decide on is it going to have a lattice top, a solid top with vent holes, or are we going to do a crumb on the top of it? Which all 3 of them sound amazing. I am really itching for spring. And to me, fruit pies just kind of say spring, especially that fresh baked smell when you can open up the windows. And I know this Wednesday and Thursday it's going to be, 67 to 72 degrees, and that just screams spring for me. So I'm in the mood for pies at the moment. So we'll do a peach pie this week, and next week I'm not going to tell you what the pie is, but I think you'll like it. Let me shut the door real quick. Sam's out there making friends with the neighbor dogs. All right. It's a game that they have learned to play of let's bark at each other and chase each other up down the fence. So those are the things we're going to do this week. As far as dinner and desserts go. We did get Mr. Smith's Kitchen up and running on Facebook. It is public. Feel free to join me. I'm going to post recipe ideas on there and just basically anything you see on the channel and anything I see that I think would be amazing to try or do, or any articles I may read. Everything basically behind the scenes, so to speak. Canning ideas, whatever we do here as videos, you'll find something for it in Facebook going forward. Whether, like the kitchen project, when we do get that off the ground, either way, whether we do bought used cabinets or build new cabinets, which I'm still leaning towards building cabinets, you'll see the progress on there. Instagram's just around the corner. All I got left to do is go out and buy a decent phone for the house and I will have a public number that people can use to call if they, have questions or, comments or whatever. You can get a hold of me that way also. Or if you're in the state of Ohio and you want to get a pie or a cake, you can call and get one. If it's not something that you've seen on any of my videos or I don't talk about it on Facebook, you can ask me about it, and if I can, I most certainly will. I cannot sell out of the state of Ohio yet because I'm trying to basically use the cottage law enacted by the federal government, which allows me to, and Ohio participates in it, allows me to sell cakes and pies as long as they're not cream pies. Like I can't sell a banana cream pie. But there are lots of pies, cakes, breads, jams, jellies. There's enough to keep us occupied for a while as far as stuff to sell. Out of my house, I just cannot sell them out of state. They have to be in state at the moment. Once I start selling out of state, I will need a food vendor's license, a kitchen permit, and all that stuff. And I mean, hopefully by then, any proceeds we make off of the pies and cakes we sell now, we can buy the house and maybe we can turn the garage into a small bakery. Maybe we could afford to rent space to do a bakery. But those are way far in the future plans. Right now, I just want to focus on selling some cakes and pies. The cake we are featuring this week is still the blueberry bundt cake with the lemon icing on it. But I can do any of the cakes that you see videos for. Either way, if you're interested, let me know. So I will get you hooked up. I'll get you some prices, and and we'll get this thing rolling for you. All right. Well, anyhow, I will see you tomorrow for tomato chicken curry. And till then, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that. I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys more than you'll ever know. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. It's going to make their day a whole lot better, I promise. And remember, we need each other to get through this. All right? We are going through some troubling times as a country, and as a world, and we all need each other right now, whether we realize it or not. So, I'll see you tomorrow for tomato chicken curry. All right? Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.